Have you ever wondered what it truly costs to be a Hollywood legend? Behind the dazzling marquee lights lie stories of heartache and sacrifice that can shake even the most radiant smiles in show business. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary yet sorrow-filled journey of Donald O'Connor. Donald O'Connor was born in August 1925 at St. Elizabeth Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. From his very first moments, he was surrounded by the world of entertainment. His parents, John "Chuck" O'Connor and Effie Irene O'Connor, were accomplished vaudeville performers who had graced the stages of famed circuses such as Hagen-Beck Wallace and the Ringling Brothers, as well as traveling tent shows. From the moment he was born, Donald's life was inseparable from the stage. Growing up in a family steeped in vaudeville tradition, he was one of 7 children, though tragedy struck early when 3 of his siblings passed away at a very young age. The blend of theatrical magic and profound loss set the stage for a life defined by both brilliance and sorrow. The O'Connor family's daily life was far from conventional. They toured through Illinois and the Chicago area in an old speedwagon that had been transformed into a mobile home, complete with bunks, lockers, lanterns, a stove, and all the necessities needed for the harsh realities of life on tour. Even as a baby, Donald would drift off to sleep to the sound of applause and the lively chatter of a ringmaster. Donald's introduction to the stage was almost inevitable. Born into a family that lived and breathed performance, he made his first appearance on stage at just 13 months old. While other children might have enjoyed a sheltered upbringing, he was quickly drawn into a life where every day was a mix of rehearsal, spontaneous performance, and the constant buzz of live shows. Without formal training in singing or dancing, young Donald absorbed his craft by simply living it. Following in the footsteps of his older siblings and extended family members who toured with the show, he learned the nuances of choreography, perfect timing, and, most importantly, how to push through life's tragedies while entertaining an audience. At just 2 years old, tragedy struck when Donald and his 7-year-old sister, Arlene, were involved in a car accident outside a theater in Hartford, Connecticut. While Donald survived, his sister did not. This heartbreaking event was a stark introduction to life's fragility and underscored the harsh reality that even in a world of laughter and performance, sorrow was never far away. Following the devastating loss, the family had little choice but to keep the show running to cover funeral costs and to maintain their livelihood. With their mother, Effie, unable to perform, the act was carried on by Donald, his surviving brothers, and their cousin Patty. This constant need to perform, regardless of personal loss, became the family's only means of survival. Whenever the O'Connor troupe wasn't on the road, they would return to Danville, Illinois, a place that offered brief moments of normal life. In Danville, Donald could experience a taste of childhood, mingling with local kids and engaging in everyday pastimes like collecting baseball cards. Yet, as soon as a new performance opportunity emerged, they would pack up and hit the road once more. During their travels, the family sometimes visited Peru, Illinois, where an old friend ran the South Bluff Country Club. In exchange for their entertainment, they were provided lodging and a reprieve from constant touring. Young Donald even found time for mischief, spending hours shooting rats with a BB rifle in abandoned warehouses, a stark contrast to his life on stage. Before he could even read, Donald was donning tiny tuxedos and capturing the attention of audiences. His early performances, complete with stage makeup that left onlookers both puzzled and enchanted, revealed a natural flair for entertaining, a trait that would define his life, even as he balanced the unexpected challenges of a childhood spent performing. In one memorable incident during a performance in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, young Donald mysteriously disappeared, only to be later found joyfully singing with the Salvation Army Band outside a local mission. still dressed in his little tuxedo. His unbridled energy and bold nature made him a child who wasn't afraid to explore every nook and cranny of any stage he encountered. Formal schooling was nearly impossible given the relentless pace of vaudeville life. Instead, Effie arranged a correspondence course so that Donald and his siblings could study between rehearsals and shows. Each morning, they would open textbooks, complete assignments, and mail them in, all while juggling a life filled with costumes, scripts, and constant travel. Even with the unusual blend of education and performance, Donald was known for his mischievous nature. He would often mix his mother's makeup to create unconventional art on walls and even provoke fights with other children. These antics, while chaotic, were part of a complex environment that prepared him for the unpredictable world of show business. The hazards of a life on stage became evident early on. During one performance that involved scattering mothballs across the stage, Donald, unaware of their purpose, attempted to eat them. In another incident, he fell from a stage prop wall in a Chicago theater, injuring his arm. Yet, even after wiping away blood mid-act, his determination to finish the show shone through. Away from the spotlight, his playful mischief didn't stop. He once used spare theater light bulbs as targets for his BB gun and even drilled holes in the walls of a women's dressing room to catch glimpses of performers changing. Such behavior blurred the lines between right and wrong, a reflection of a life that was as unconventional off stage as it was under the bright lights. During a performance at Chicago's State Lake Theater, an unexpected turn of events unfolded when a man in the audience began snoring loudly, disrupting the act. Seizing the opportunity, Donald stepped off stage, grabbed a bottle of seltzer water, and sprayed the slumbering patron awake. The resulting laughter from the crowd was immense, but the incident later led to a lawsuit against both the family and the theater management, highlighting the unpredictable risks of live performance. Donald's early years were a cocktail of electrifying performance and personal loss. Whether entertaining street crowds for tips or playing in upscale theaters, the family encountered both adoration and challenges, from unruly spectators to legal entanglements born from their comedic pranks. Tragedy struck the family again when Donald's brother Billy contracted scarlet fever during a Christmas visit to Poria, passing away shortly after. This profound loss instilled in Donald a deep sense of responsibility to support his mother and to help keep the family act afloat, further fueling his determination to persevere. By 1937, the young performer began his film career with uncredited roles in titles such as Melody for Two and It Can't Last Forever. Recognizing his talent, Paramount Pictures cast him as the younger version of Fred MacMurray's character in Men with Wings, 1938, and even as Bing Crosby's younger brother in Sing You Sinners, 1938. These early film appearances paved the way for a burgeoning Hollywood career. Donald's growing reputation led him to roles in other productions like Sons of the Legion, 1938, Boy Trouble, 1939, and as Huckleberry Finn in Tom Sawyer, Detective, 1941. A breakthrough came when he secured a contract with Universal Pictures, marking a turning point as he began starring in a series of musicals, delighting audiences alongside stars like the Andrews Sisters, Gloria Jean, and Peggy Ryan. In the early 1940s, Donald's career flourished at Universal Pictures. He appeared in films such as Get Hep to Love, 1942, When Johnny Comes Marching Home, 1942, and Mr. Big, 1943, which solidified his reputation as an exceptional musical and comedic talent just before his 18th birthday. Shortly after turning 18 in August 1943, Donald was drafted into the United States Army during World War II. To keep his momentum going, Universal Pictures expedited the production of several films before his induction. By February 1944, 4 movies featuring him, co-starring Peggy Ryan, were completed, ensuring that his popularity among audiences would endure throughout his military service. At the age of 18, while balancing a rising career and military service, Donald married Gwendolyn Carter in Tijuana, Mexico. The couple had a daughter named Donna. However, the marriage was fraught with challenges, including Carter's growing frustrations over her own acting prospects, which sadly led to episodes of physical abuse. This tumultuous relationship later contributed to Donald's long-standing struggles with alcohol and eventually ended in divorce in 1954, with Carter receiving custody of their daughter and retaining ownership of their home. After his military service, Donald returned to a transformed Hollywood. Now, working under Universal International, he starred alongside Diana Durbin in Something in the Wind, 1947, a musical comedy in which he portrayed the character Charlie Red. This comeback showcased his signature blend of humor and energy, featuring memorable musical numbers that reminded audiences of his undeniable talent. The post-war era brought sweeping changes to the entertainment industry. As television began to claim its share of audiences and traditional film studios faced declining influence, Donald adapted to new challenges. Shifts in audience tastes, coupled with the rising popularity of television, forced performers like him to reinvent their approaches while continuing to entertain in fresh ways. During the early 1950s, Donald gained widespread acclaim for his role as Peter Sterling in the Francis the Talking Mule series, a set of comedy films featuring a charming, talkative mule that delighted audiences. Yet it was his role as Cosmo Brown in the 1952 musical Singing in the Rain that became his most celebrated performance. In that film, his show-stopping Make 'em Laugh number, filled with acrobatic feats and impeccable comic timing, remains one of the most impressive displays of physical comedy and dance ever captured on film. The physical and emotional toll of such high-energy performances soon became apparent. Following the grueling Make 'em Laugh sequence, Donald was hospitalized for several days due to exhaustion and burns, an ordeal that underscored both the risks and his unwavering commitment to his craft. Despite these challenges, Donald's career continued to thrive. He signed a lucrative 3-picture deal with Paramount Pictures, reprised his role in the Francis series, and co-starred with Debbie Reynolds in I Love Melvin, 1953. That same year, he also showcased his dancing skills alongside Ethel Merman and Vera Ellen in Call Me Madam for 20th Century Fox, a performance he later credited among his finest work, even if it was somewhat eclipsed by his role in Singing in the Rain. At the peak of his career in the early 1950s, the relentless pace of work began to take its toll on Donald's health. He was originally slated to star alongside Bing Crosby in the 1954 film White Christmas, but had to withdraw due to illness, reportedly pneumonia caused by overwork. His replacement, Danny Kaye, went on to help make the film a classic. That same year, Donald entered a second marriage to actress Gloria Noble. Their union brought stability compared to his earlier turbulent relationship, and together they raised 3 children: Alicia, Donald, Frederick, and Kevin. This period marked a more settled phase in his personal life, even as he continued to navigate the evolving demands of the entertainment industry. As the traditional Hollywood studio system began to wane and television emerged as a dominant form of entertainment, Donald reinvented himself yet again. He hosted The Donald O'Connor Show and co-hosted NBC's Colgate Comedy Hour, exploring new avenues for his unique brand of comedy and ensuring that his talent reached new audiences in a rapidly changing media landscape. Yet, beneath the vibrant public persona lay personal battles. Throughout the 1970s, Donald contended with alcoholism, a struggle that had roots stretching back to his wartime service, and recurring health issues, including a heart attack in 1971. Despite these setbacks, he continued to make occasional television appearances and lent his voice as a narrator to the nostalgic documentary That's Entertainment, 1974. In the 1980s and beyond, Donald diversified his work further. He hosted the Academy Awards, took on a more dramatic role in Milos Forman's Ragtime, 1981, as a dance instructor, and delighted audiences with guest spots on popular television series like The Nanny and Frasier in 1996. His ability to evoke nostalgia and charm viewers, regardless of the medium, underscored his lasting appeal. In 1997, Donald appeared in his final film, Out to Sea, alongside fellow Hollywood legends Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. That same year, he was honored with the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award, a fitting tribute to his lifelong impact on the world of entertainment. Despite facing heart issues and the inevitable challenges of aging, his passion for performance never waned, even as he continued to bring joy to audiences until his passing in September 2003 at the age of 78. Donald O'Connor's journey from his early vaudeville days to his iconic roles in MGM musicals and live television shows demonstrates how personal hardship can be transformed into art. His technical brilliance, combined with an indomitable spirit, allowed him to channel adversity into performances that resonated deeply with audiences. His story reminds us that behind every shining star lies a tapestry of memories, battles, and heartbreaks that shape the talent we admire on screen. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth exploration of Donald O'Connor's remarkable journey. His life teaches us that even the brightest smiles can hide the deepest sorrows, and that the challenges of fame and fortune are often as complex as the art itself. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, those who make us laugh might be carrying some of the heaviest burdens of all.